Thank you so much, Abdul. Let me introduce Mark Martin, otherwise known to many of us as Urban Teacher on Twitter. Mark's a educator working in one of my favourite places, Brixton, there on Brixton Hill. Mark, thanks so much for coming to the launch of the Developing Digital Guide.
Thank you for having me. I'm just going to load up my slides so you can see where we're at with stuff. So let's just quickly get that up.
Always a risk, Mark. Always a risk. This moment of, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. There is a lot of information here. So let's.
Had a very crowded desktop.
Yes. So thank you for this really interesting conversation, and I've really been thinking around the lockdown, the lockdown landscape. What is it looking like for our young people? I've got 5 minutes to do this, so bear with me. So when we think about the current situations around our young people, I want to think of it from a holistic perspective around youth violence, aspirations, poverty, alternative pathways, career pathways, and discrimination. And this is really important because when we do think about EdTech and we think about really engaging young people in the education system, we have to understand we can't take a blind eye to just for the fact they're in school and or they're at home learning. What about the social issues that are transpiring? And then when we think across the country before COVID, there was this huge issue around access. It was around opportunities. It was around awareness and connection for learners. And this was really important in terms of connecting our young people to the industry, connecting our young people to opportunities on their doorstep, especially if, you know, all of these big tech companies are moving in or organizations are moving in for our young people. But here's a famous quote that I like to say to myself: you can't digitalize a broken education system. You just end up with broken digitalized edtech. And it's one of these things where we knew that before COVID-19, young people struggled with our education system, and they were leaving with the grades that they could have achieved much better, probably if we had a more of a technical pathway where the T-levels are coming in now. So there was a range of things with our education system that was broken before, and there's been this massive rush since COVID to put everything online. And I just think that that was a real mistake, and I think that there's a real opportunity now how we can really define that narrative. And then probably during COVID, how many young people have probably built digital worlds and battlefields in their bedroom with some real innovation? And I would love to see the stats in terms of how much young people have built models in these games compared to reading these headlines of only 4 in 10 students engaging with the work. Are we missing something here where we're getting lots of engagement with young people, whether it's through online gaming or social media? Was there something that as educators or the education system could have caught on to in terms of, could it have been project-based work, getting our young people to create projects with the different subjects around a social impact problem within the local area, i.e. COVID-19. Few more slides. Then we look at the COVID Maslow in terms of, the biggest things for our young people now is around food, transport, unemployment, apprenticeships, university placements. All of these have been affected since COVID-19. How is it, how can the education system really think about, plugging the gap? How do we support our learners in terms of some of these points that have been mentioned here on the screen? And then lastly, when we do make EdTech products and make EdTech a reality, we've got to be careful that we don't make something where when the users actually use it, they're actually walking through the middle, and we wanted that actually to go around. And that kind of encouraged me to think about and encourage the people on the call here to really think about, can we co-create EdTech? I think there's a real kind of need that we need to get parents in the mix. We need to get teachers in the mix. We need to get companies in the mix, all having genuine conversations. I think EdTech top down doesn't work because people won't use it to the real full potential. So I think there's something around cross collaboration. So what is the new norm? Because the old one wasn't working. And I think that the teacher's role is changing in the classroom. I think it's something where, teachers have become motivators recently. They've become facilitators in the online coaching, that learning, well-being coaches and confidence builders. So I think that the role of the teacher is changing, whether it's a lot of the content is now online and we're now having to subscribe to that. So I probably could end here, and I want to end here, and I want to end with one more thing before I hand back over to Ty. EdTech is a tool, it's an enabler, it needs the human touch. And I think that I could go on more around how we kind of incorporate that human touch, but it's very important when we're thinking about really just giving young people tools or giving the school system tools to use. How do we think about the social element? How do we think about the social impact? Thank you. Back over to you, Ty.